Well, let me see here. There's my little doggy. It looks like I got audio. It looks like I got signal. And we got chat turned on. I thought I'd come in and squeeze in a couple of hours for those that anybody might be hanging around. And then again, there might not be. There may not be anybody around. Never thought about that. It says I'm live. Hey, Theo. What you looking for, buddy? My little dog is wandering around. I'll let it run for a few minutes, and if nobody shows up, that means I probably don't have something set just right. The audio looks good. And according to my mesh over there, it looks like I got a signal. Well, just went out and fed the birds. And it looks like, well, there's still patches of snow around, but it's pretty well gone away now. Ah, we do have somebody in here. Okay, the thing's working. And that'll be the brown chicken. Hey, I've just been waiting for an innocent victim to come by. I'm the old spider. I put my web out there, and the first one that lands in the web is the brown chicken. I'm going to go get the skillet hot now. Might even put you in a big pot and have some chicken and dumplings. Oh. Well, our cold weather looks like it's going to hang on for another week. And I looked ahead in. That's what I was wondering, where everybody was at. Well, I think they're all getting ready for the duct tape experience this afternoon with Motobomb. And they got to save their strength and energy because it's pretty competitive up there. You know, he has usually a wall full of people, and you know that's at 7 o'clock. But they have to get themselves mentally ready for it. They're taking naps. They're they actually studying stuff. You know, they get the encyclopedia. They got all of them's got Encyclopedia Britannica, and they go through there and because they give quizzes up there. They ask questions and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it can be a madhouse. I mean, I highly recommend it to anybody who would like to go up, and it's kind of like when you go over on the duct tape experience. It's kind of like going up at the Walmart up there. You know, You got all kinds of characters in there. It makes life interesting. In fact, I got my picture on the wall. I did have it. They may have took out some whitewash and painted over it by now, because I'm not reliable. Everybody in the world's got a good, reliable system. I'm the only one that don't. Our system went off just before lunch. Had to be like 11 something. And I unplugged the box and went through the process of rebooting the router, and I finally got the system back up working. And then yesterday I had an audio problem. Well, him and I, we both live out in the woods, but I had audio. I was on last night. I wish you'd have been around last night. Brown Chicken. We had a group on until 1:30 this morning. I'm gonna tell you this. If you get a chance, go over and look at my my live feed from last night. In the last 10 minutes, look at the last 10 minutes, because an interesting question. It was the most interesting, thought-provoking question I think I'd ever been asked. They asked me, one of the people, I think I had like 18 people, or there was quite a few people in there, my sisters. We had folks all over. They asked me, did I fear death? And I gave them, well, in between the times of trying to explain how come my audio went away and all that kind of stuff. See, it's hard for most people to get a grip on not having technology. It's so commonplace. Hello, Flip Elliott too. You guys notice you all got monkey wrenches over there. When I set this YouTube back up, and there is my sweet, lovely sister, Joyce. Joyce, I was just telling them about last night, the thought-provoking question about, did I fear death? Because see, I'm, at my age, if you're young, you'd want to ask an old person, what is it like to be up there in that area, where the end is near? And so people have all kinds of conjured up ideas about things, and they thought, well, hey, the good question to ask was, did I fear death? So you guys get a chance last night, about just the last 10 minutes. I was on there for 2 hours and 41 minutes, but just the last 10, 15 minutes, that's when we covered the topic of death. That's a good time to cover it at 1 o'clock in the morning when the kids are in bed and your girlfriend, your wife, or whatever, they don't have to, they're not around to hear it. Hey, shipmate. Oh, I was talking to my son last night. He was on the USS Ingersoll. And there's 2-4. 2-4, man. Let me give you a big old salute. Because I'm kind of like you, 2-4. We're not snowed in, and the snow is almost gone, but we had a moment where we could almost imagine what life must be like up there in your part of the world. And there's a guy right there. He was in with the midnight crew. After midnight. Yeah, there's Mr. Toga. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good wherever you at. I think you're about 7 hours ahead of me, so it's already dark over there where you're at. And yeah, we had Desert Outlaw in there, a young man like Desert Outlaw. He didn't ask the question, but some of the other fellows did, because Desert Outlaw, the last thing that should be on his mind is death. When you're young like that, that's the craziest damn thing you can have in your mind is thinking about dying, leave that up to the old folks. Yeah, they can handle it. And hello, Robert. Oh, Robert was in there last night. Yeah, let's see. I think, yeah, Robert was in there. I had both my sisters in there, and we would have carried on longer, but my audio went away, and I began to see things where it's fixing to go away again. And so I went ahead and ended it about 1:30. And then I get over into bed. I want to tell you, I get over into bed, and I roll myself over on my right side there. This is the mode I like to be in when it's time to go to sleep. And I began to kind of debate in my head about misguiding anybody. I thought, like, I'm not giving nobody advice about what the hereafter is like, because I don't know anything about that. I think a lot of people are looking for hope. Thomas Bailey. Thomas was in here last night. Thomas, I was so glad you was a part of the conversation last night. And I was telling these fellows they could go look at the last 15 minutes of that little thing last night, and there's a lot of people probably like, should I worry about it, or should I think about it, or I haven't given it much thought. It is one of those things you can ponder when you don't have anything else to do. And I wouldn't even suggest putting it in your mind, because you'll deal with that when the time comes. Yeah, the Robin, he was in there. Let me tell you this, Brown Chicken. When I was 12 years old, my sister Joyce is right here in the audience. She can dispute it, verify it, or she's heard this to be a fact, or whatever her input is. She will not be blocked out. Whatever she says will be fine with me. But when I was 12 years old, my aunt took me to the church in Pinckney City, Alabama. And somewhere during that period of time, I got to call into the Lord. God Almighty spoke to me that night. I don't know if he spoke to me or somebody did. One of his representatives did. The Spirit came into my body. And it was kind of, see, we had a really hard life for the first 12 years of our life. We didn't have electricity. So we didn't have things that was put in our head by TV or other stuff. But we had whatever come into our head, it came in naturally. It wasn't induced by the situation of TV input and stuff like that. But I found myself being lifted in spirit. And God, or whoever, spoke to me. It never went away. I do believe in an afterlife. I do believe in an entity that controls everything. I wasn't an accident. I mean, oh, sure, Dad might have not have meant to deposit me and Mama, but it happened, and I'm here. But all my life, I've had that light that came to me, and it was a form of light. In my mind, it was a form of light. I like to refer to it as a form of enlightenment. In other words, it gave me some boundaries. I've crossed over those boundaries, but I've lived under this thing about trying to square up your life as you go along and not let it build up and be something that drags you down. Oh, look at 2-4. He was dead for 22 minutes. Well, look at Thomas Bailey. He's got some issues there where life almost slipped away on him. Uh, you know, if you really want to see an example of a supreme being, look at the baby being born. You know, that's a miracle within itself. But I don't go around. I don't preach nothing to nobody. I don't know nothing about it to do that. I just know that I was given boundaries, and I've stayed within those boundaries, reasonably within those boundaries. I have crossed over them. I've made promises and broke promises. I'm not going to sit here and chastise myself in front of the world. I'm going to wait for that day of judgment, and I don't even know what that's going to be like. I do know this. I did pick up the Holy Bible. I was going to reach over and pick one up. I had one laying here, but I've moved it. I was going to pick it up, and in that Holy Bible, it talked about this most powerful being that created the heavens and the earth, and he made light, and he brought fishes to the sea. But they speak about God so beloved his begotten Son that he sent him here as a gift from God to bring us peace, to bring us forgiveness. Whoever shall believe in him shall have everlasting life. That's written. There's people that like to go through and read a couple of sentences in a chapter, and they live their whole life by it, but they don't read the whole chapter. They only read the portions that makes them feel good. Hey, look at Brown Chicken, what you said right there. The very words I was trying to formulate into a sensible phrase or saying. But if you truly do believe, you remember God really felt bad about killing all of mankind except a few he let float around in a boat. He really felt bad about that. This was a gift that he gave to us, his Son, so that he could bring us peace. And before his light went out of his eyes, he said, forgive them. Yeah, so I would like to believe that light that came to me when I was 12 years old in 1952, it has helped me to shape the direction I go in my life. I like to be thought of as a giver, not a taker. My mother hated people that took. She hated people that didn't stand on their own 2 feet. She had a saying. She had a saying, we used to laugh at it when we was kids. Every tub will sit on its own bottom. So you're like an island. You was born alone, and you can't take nobody with you. You're going to leave out of here alone. And I don't believe in this accumulation of wrongs and rights. And if you do a little bit of good, it forgives you for a whole lot of bad. That's what Judgment Day is about. And if you are going to be fair to yourself, you're going to constantly cast judgment on your performance as a human being. And we're really hard on ourselves, harder than we should be. In fact, that's the reason God sent Jesus here, to give us the forgiveness we need. And I really believe in it. But I'm not going to go around. I ain't going to condemn you for any words that you would say. Your words are not going to offend me. Your words are not going to change me. I don't have to be in judgment of you on your words that you may say. I would like to see people to display the thing that Jesus brought us, and that's peace. I read his book. And it's a good book. And I read all of his people that put together different chapters of the book. And I don't recall any time where he slapped the piss out of some guy because he disagreed with him, you know. I don't remember him going up into the castle up there and healing the king. But I remember he went into a leper and healed him. I remember he went into the temple and kicked the shit out of a bunch of money mongers, you know, people, money exchangers. He lost his temper. Old Matt gets, you know, he gets mad too. But I'm not saying I was like Jesus, but he lost his temper in the temple. His temper in the temple. That's hard for me to say. And so you ain't going to burn in a lake of fire for losing your temper. It's what happens in this throw of a fit that you be having is where your judgment is. It's your behavior, how you become Christ-like and work yourself out of the situation without causing harm. Peace. You remember Peter cut a guy's ear off, you know, up there in that garden, the Mount of Olives, and cut his ear off. And I don't even think Jesus liked that part either. So, no, don't get down on yourself. Leave that up. It ain't your job. Your job is to try to do as the best you can do, but don't be judging yourself. You think, oh, I should maybe correct this. I'm going to better improve this. I can be better at that. That's not judging. It's always being down on yourself and get yourself into a darkness that you can't get out of. Depression, anxiety, anger, and a lot of times you get yourself into a state of sadness. Thomas Bailey, I love you, man. You know, you're saying the right words. A lot of people think about, you know, we look at our mothers and fathers that have sons to war. Look at over at Toga. His history goes back so long. He's from a proud country of Turkey where wars and rumors of wars and kings and invasions and invaders and conquerors and all that kind of stuff, they all went through Turkey. Every kind of human being in the world at one time or another went through Turkey. And the Turkish people have such historical findings. You know, you go over there and you're just getting about as close to biblical time as you can get. And they're warrior-like people. They could make some war, but thank God they're in a stable, peaceful environment. And they're made up of multiple religions. They're not just a Muslim country. There are a lot of religions. So somehow they're like during Jesus' time when he walked along the Sea of Galilee, and there was people from everywhere, from every country. There was just every kind of religious belief and all that stuff. And he walked amongst all of them. He had the ladies of the evening. You remember there was one that washed his. Y'all remember the story? Old Jerry's dabbled with some of the ladies of the evening. He wasn't dabbling. He was just happened to be there. But quit judging yourself. Hey, man, roll with the tide. You know in your heart when you're doing wrong, and it's up to you to get it corrected, get it back on the right course. Well, I just love the history of that whole region. I know a lot of people, a lot of the Christian people think of the Middle East, Mount Sinai and all that over there and right there in the Middle East from what we call Israel or Palestine or in that area. But that wasn't the beginning. That just happened to be a place historical as well. And I do love those people. I love all of them that have lived in such turmoil and have found common ground in a lot of places where they can coexist. We've got to get back to that common ground here in our country where I don't have to be a Christian to be loved. I don't need to be hated because I'm a Muslim. I don't need to be hated because I wear a scarf on my head or wear a toga or wear like a Sikh. I don't need to be labeled or judged. And I won't judge you. Yeah, it's a tough road finding middle ground. Um, but how about if you found middle ground? What about if you just ignored the rest of your country, your fellow Americans, fellow Canadians, and all those that can be hearing our voice today? Ignore and find the area that you can find soul contentment, where you are at peace. And if you're at peace, you sleep, you go to bed at night, and you don't worry about dying. Um, no, that's the last thing I'd want any of y'all to do is ever worry about that. I don't worry about you breathing. You breathe in and you breathe out. You breathe in, you breathe out. You born and you die. It all works the same. And ain't no getting out alive. And I'm not just saying that because I'm getting old and all that bullshit. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. I've lived my whole entire life that way. Um, we was raised to help other people, but before you can help anybody else, you got to help yourself. You've got to find the soul contentment that you need. Hey, retired writer. Hello, John. Or should I call you Mayor? You're you'll always be my mayor. You're like You're like Captain Kangaroo of the duct tape dynasty. So our topic this evening, before we got plenty of time to get this in. Well, I saw Jim up there. He, I think he had his track out. Oh, I saw Ray Gregory out there doing donuts on Miss Katie's track. Now I was going to go over in my yard and I was going to do the same thing, but then I thought to myself, all the kids were all out, all the neighborhood kids were out, and I thought, yep, I would probably hook a rut, roll the old baby over. I didn't want that. Um, no, I'll leave that to the hot shots, guys that can do that kind of stuff. Uh, but the thought was there, but I fought the temptation. Thomas, I don't see. Thomas, you don't have a crescent wrench. let me see if I can fix that. If I can fix that, I think I can. Yeah, because I saw somebody else up there. Who else was Thomas? You don't have a range. I don't know how I missed you. Okay, we'll go over here. Okay, we'll go over here. Okay. Oh man, let me see if I can figure out how to do this again. Well, oh, I guess I have to go. I was gonna. Oh, I know how to do it. I know how to do it. Here we go. Right here, and we're going to add a moderator. Buddy, you got yourself a crescent wrench now. And let me see you. Look at that right there. Man, I tell you. Now that's a metric crescent wrench. That's not one of those old fashioned ones, and there was somebody else up here. I want to make sure I give him because I missed him. Okay. Robert right here. Hang on, Robert. We almost got you all fixed up here. Yeah, buddy, we got everybody fixed up now. I think the whole entire, everybody's got the old golden crescent wrench. Yeah, we looked at the long range weather. Looks like it's going to be February before we're going to be able to go out and ride and enjoy it. Unless I see my sister said, when are you going to come and see me? She lives down there close to Clearwater. And so we've been contemplating going down there. It's probably going to be closer to spring. I don't want to go during the spring break time. I want to go before the spring break time so we can still get motel rooms at a reasonable rate. Because we got to take our dogs with us when we go. So I'll have to trailer my bike down to Florida. And then we're going to get on the bike, and then we're going to. I told Angelique I wanted to go to Key West. So maybe I might be doing that here. February ain't that far away. But we're going to have some good riding weather. But I've almost rode every road in Alabama. There ain't nothing else left I can go see. Ray Gregory, he's going to come back over, and we're going to go to the old Natural Bridge. It's a bridge that's been standing for like 280,000 years. That's what they estimate because of the rock formation and stuff. And he's going to come over. We're going to ride over to the old Natural Bridge. It'd be nice. We get a whole biking crew, a bunch of folks. Ray brings some Georgia folks and Sick come riding up from Florida, and we get the boys riding on Ruby from up there in Connecticut and coming down, people from Pennsylvania and the Carolinas and Motorbomb, Virginia, and we'd all take a ride to the old Natural Bridge. Oh, I know, but so let's just say I left Clearwater. I could be down there. It only takes me like 10 hours, I believe it is, to get from here to Clearwater. I could do that. See, and just before you go out on the trip out of the Key West, stay somewhere down down towards the bottom of the, before you get onto the big bridge. And yeah, you can divide it up in a few days there. About a tank full of gas. I think I'd have to have probably 2 tanks full of gas to get down to the Key West. Because I only get about 35 miles a gallon. My bike runs really good, but it uses gas and it has a hearty appetite. The reason I say that, when my low fuel light comes on, it says I've got 30 miles, I believe. Yeah, 30 miles before empty. And I have run it down to where I only had 8 or 9 miles left. Whew, I was holding my breath. Yeah, I think that would be a good journey. I used to haul down there to that. There's an Air Force base down there. I can't remember. It's way down. That ain't Andrews. It's way down at the bottom of the state. Yeah, when you run it down and you've got only 8 miles left before you run out of gas. Um, I've never run out of gas on it, and I don't never like to run a tank down that low. Now I usually put Sta-Bil or something in it in the wintertime, even though I run premium fuel in it. Um, if you run it down low, you got a tank that sweats. You're going to get moisture in the tank. And I've had to gas up when you take the cap off. If you pouring down raining, you'd be out one of them country gas stations where they don't have much of a cover over it, and you're going to get sprinkles of water in there occasionally. So, um, yeah, best not to run it down too low. But I've read on the internet, I think 35 miles to the gallon for that 103 is about as good as I expect. Well, if I try, you got to look at, I weigh almost 1,200 pounds, and you take me and Angelique up there, you're looking at close to 1,600 pounds of weight going down the road. So you got a lot of weight on that thing. I liked the way it run in the snow yesterday. No wheel spinning. It just went right up through there. I can make it spin by just blipping the throttle, but it had good traction, and the brakes seemed to work on it. It slid a little bit, but it was easy to control. I got a gravel road up there. The county road here is gravel, so you don't get a lot of slipping on it. It was all covered. You had about a 3-inch coverage over the top of the gravel, and it made for just really good riding. Covers the potholes up and everything. I was thinking, well, I had a sporty track, and it didn't get much better. And I don't think it even got as good a gas mileage. Oh, I know. It had only a 3-gallon tank on it. You had to fill up real often. They had like 3.2 gallons, and the track's got a 6-gallon tank. I tell you what would be real good right now. I'll show you what'd be real good. Y'all hang on. This is just a notion. Every time I'm going to do this, as always, here we go. Oh, come on. There's over 100 things always shows up. Hey, Dave, I saw Dave on the screen here. Dave just finished up a live. Y'all bear with me now.
Hey.
Hey, buenas tardes, señorita.
What up?
How about a cold cerveza? Mucho frío cerveza.
Beer?
Mucho frío cerveza, sí.
Okay, I'll bring you a beer.
Also, a mucho frío ice mug.
A frozen mug.
Yeah, frozen mug.
Yeah, I know, but I was just trying to translate everything in my head too.
All right. Thank you very much.
Uh-huh.
Bye. All right, we got that little business to take care of. I was sitting here and I'm thinking, had a really good lunch. Oh. And I saw 2-4. See, you're a bad influence on me there, 2-4. See, just seeing your name right there made me start craving Alpine beer. But since we don't have Alpine beer here in Alabama, I thought I'd have to resort to probably like closest to Alpine beer, probably Yuengling. That's what I drink, Yuengling out of Pennsylvania. And so there's a chance I'll have to settle for Yuengling instead of Alpine. Yeah. Yeah. You notice I was polite. I didn't say, snap it up. Oh, here she comes. Here she comes. Pop the lid on it, honey. Pop the lid on it. And all right, we got this thing working out here. Hey, quick shoe sticks. I'll see you there, buddy. Here we go. Let me turn there. Thanks, honey. The Beer of Champions. It's a good lager. I try to teach Angelique how to do this without. See, a head on a beer is not bad, but when you got a mustache, that stuff gets into your mustache and dries up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's a good frosty mug of beer. Let me turn that thing around. I'm a right-handed person, so. Cerveza. Mucho frío cerveza. Dos cerveza. I see 2 beer mugs. Dos cerveza. Cerveza dos cerveza. Now that is some good cold beer. I've been waiting for it to get warmer where I could have a beer, and it finally got warmed up. Oh, let me see. Quick, frosted glass, state law in Oregon. Every glass of beer has to be I'll tell you. Let me tell you this. I lived in the Seattle area for 40 years. And when we got up there, they introduced us to red beer. I didn't even know what a red beer was. So I started drinking red beer, which is tomato juice and beer. And then somebody said, oh, you got to try Clamato. I go, what the hell is a Clamato? Well, it's tomato and clam juice. I go, what? It's great. Then they said, you got to try Tabasco Clamato. That's Clamato, clam, tomatoes, and Tabasco pepper sauce. We drank that beer so hot. Woo! Good gracious. Your poop would be like gravy and it would be red hot. A little company I work for, you might have seen the name right over in here. That little company I work for, They gave me a set of 6 of these for 20 years. When I turned 20, when I got 20 years of service, they gave me a 6 pack of crystal mugs. Oh my gosh, these keep your beer cold for so long. And we're now down to, I think I got 3 of them out of the 6 still left because they break pretty easy. My son drinks Stella, and my sister Joy, she does too. Um, when I was in Washington, I used to have this. I had them here too. My big bed over here had a big rack up above the bed, and it had all my beer steins. All my kids that lived in Germany, all my kids that were stationed in Germany, they always got me beer steins, and I had such a collection of beer steins. I like German beer. I drink a lot of Bock beer. I like dark, Bock. Um, I used to go to Oktoberfest in Paulsbo, Washington. My sisters, they've been there too, and that's where all them Scandinavians, they would get together every year, and they would drink all that beer and eat that lutefisk and all that stuff that these Scandinavian people liked. I married a little woman from Minnesota, from Moorhead, Minnesota, and her last name was Moorhead, and she was Swedish. She was a Swedish meatball. She was a good cook. Oh, bless your heart. Oh, you were born in 1960. I was 20 years old when you were born. And I wasn't quite 20. See, you was born on March the 2nd, 1960. I didn't turn 20 until June the 30th of 1960. Man, I love me some New York. I used to make more money going to New York. People would kind of refuse to take the loads to New York. I was driving over the road, and I just love the people. I love the action of it. I like the whole climate. I like the rawness of New York. I used to go to Staten Island. I helped build those big new terminals down there. I hauled steel from O'Neill Steel in Birmingham to up there where they was building those new ferry terminals on Staten Island. I used to go to a place called Altima, not Albany, but Altima, New York. It was north of New York City. And I carried electric motors up there, a whole flatbed load of electric motors. As far as the eye can see, we had them stacked on that truck. 20, 30 horsepower motors, maybe sometime as many as 200 horsepower electric motors. There were some bad parts about going to New York City. The GW Bridge got potholes big enough to swallow a Volkswagen. Yeah, upstate New York. I tell you, I fell in love with the people. I got stuck up there in Altima, New York. I got up there on Friday, and they couldn't get me unloaded until Monday. So I mean, I had to lay over from Friday to Monday because they had a major failure inside the factory, and they treated me with utmost respect. We had dinner, all kinds of stuff. They just went out of their way to make sure that I had. uh, they just went out of the way to make sure that I was comfortable. And I went to a place in Minnesota. I wish I could remember the name of that place. It's up there where a big ore mines. And I got there once again on a Friday. It was north. I wish I could remember that. It was a place where a very famous person crashed their airplane up there in that little town. Um, He was a famous person. Um, and I went up there, and once again, those people there and that portion of Minnesota just made my whole weekend worth living. They was beautiful people with great attitudes about life, and I really enjoyed it. Bismarck, North Dakota, up at Minot is a real dismal place. I'm talking about back in the 70s. It was real dismal, but there were some wonderful people. I met indigenous people from Minot. Those are the kind of people you meet and you learn a little bit about them, but you move on. And no, it wasn't Captain Sully. He crashed up in the Hudson River. Um, I just don't recall the name of that town where it was in where a big ore or a big mining where they iron ore, and I took mining equipment for them to mine the ore, and I've met a lot of and I love Upper Peninsula of Michigan. It was just like Washington State. You go after you leave out of Wisconsin and going up into the Upper Peninsula, it's just like going up into Everett, Washington, or Arlington, Washington, up where the big timber are. Yeah, I think he was like a senator or something like that. He crashed his plane up there. Um, I mean, people crash planes everywhere. Oh, we've done the Guinnesses. Oh, let me tell you my little story about San Miguel beer. So all my kids, all my boys, they all went to the Philippine Islands. Some of them, while they were in combat, they went to the Philippine Islands for R&R, and others like they were stationed there. My boy Donald, my younger boy, he was a SP, a shore patrolman, and he had to go over and arrest drunken sailors and bring them back onto the ship. They had they didn't do anything bad. They was just got over there and got on a ferry and went to Mindanao and couldn't get back to the ship, and now they're AWL, and they have to send the SPs over there to bring them home, get them back on the ship, and they was talking about drinking San Miguel beer, and it sounded like such a good thing to do to drink San Miguel beer. So I took my new wife, she was new to me, to Waikiki, Hawaii. And while we was there, we was at the Sheraton on the 15th floor, overlooking Waikiki. Yeah, this plane crash occurred up in Minnesota that I was thinking about, and it will come to me the name of that little town, but not right now. Um, I don't remember the name of the company. But anyhow, I got out there on the balcony. I had just bought me a big conch shell down there on the boulevard down there in Waikiki. Blow the conch shell. So I was out there practicing tooting my conch shell, and Oh, thank you very much. I got 6 people in here and I got 6 thumbs up. Now that is somebody that's really nice. That's really good. Um, so I get on the phone. I go, yo, could you send me up a 6 pack of San Miguel beer? They say, yes, sir. So the person brings me up a 6 pack of San Miguel beer, and I'm sitting there drinking my San Miguel beer on the balcony overlooking Waikiki, blowing my conch shell. And I'm on my number 3 beer. I'm number 3 into the San Miguel beer. I say, I can see why my boys love this San Miguel. And then I do like this, like everybody does after you've had about 3 or 4 of them. You roll it around and start reading. What makes San Miguel beer so good? It's got some grains and barleys and hops and things of that nature. And then you read down there, bottled in Los Angeles, California. Oh, now that hurt me right there, buddy. I waited my lifetime to drink San Miguel beer. Hang on, train's coming. While the train's going by, I'll have me a swallow of beer. So now, you speak of Montezuma's Revenge. So there's my sister Joyce. She's over here in the audience. She's over on the right. She's in that panel over there. Her name is Joyce Cole. She's up there. She ain't said much. She's a deep thinker. She'll sit there and think about something, and by the time she gets ready to, bring forth some informative information into the text here, everybody else has signed off and went away. So, but she's a deep thinker. So we go down deep into Mexico. Her and her husband and me and that Swedish woman. And so my wife, the Swedish wife. So we're going down in there, and every place we go, we hired this guy to haul us around. You park your car, your van up in the impound area and ride around. And every place you go, you have tequila and all that kind of stuff. And so later over in the evening, it was hot. It was like 98 degrees at 11 o'clock at night. We come up on this little place that looked just like McDonald's. They had hamburgers. Oh, they had onion burgers. They had everything you'd imagine. Tacos, everything. But it looked like a McDonald's, really brightly lit up. So we chugged down whatever food we had. It was really good eating. But we had all of us had a big tall glass of Coke, on ice. And we drank that Coke. And then when we everybody got through the ice, we dumped all the ice over into one big cup. And we was going along drinking that ice water, and it was melting in that cup, passing the cup around, all 4 of us drinking all that water. And pretty soon my sister, she said, "Oh my God, look at this." And we all stopped and looked back there, and she had an ice cube that had a cockroach in it. El Cucaracha. And she's over in there somewhere in the lineup over there. She was almost fixing to say something there a while ago, but then the subject changed, and I could read her mind. Then she had to start typing all over again, and she got halfway through that sentence she was typing up there and looked over and seen that we was in a whole nother thing. And so she's rewriting the whole thing right now. But we all had been drinking out of this, and now we found this ice cube down at the bottom of the cup that had a cockroach in it. So we got in the car, and when we got back at the border, we said, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. what if we go ahead and drive to Las Vegas now? Let's leave here and we'll head on to Las Vegas. Everybody agreed that's the thing to do. So we're cruising along. Now we was in my cruising van, and it had a toilet in it, a flushing toilet that had a tank and all that stuff. And all of a sudden, the girls were back there fighting over that toilet because they was in bad shape. And then my brother-in-law said, "Oh man, I gotta stop." He said, "I've got that diverticulitis, and if I don't get stopped pretty soon, this is going to be a mess inside the van. Let's just get this thing stopped." So him and we got stopped on the freeway going up to Las Vegas, and we got off and crawled down under this great big old culvert, big 15-foot diameter pipe that ran under the freeway. We crawled down inside that thing, and we sprayed the walls. We could almost write our name in chocolate on the walls, you know. Viva Zapata! Oh man! So anyhow, we get ourselves back in the car, and we made it on down the road a ways, and we saw way down there a Chevron station coming up, and that's now that wave of uncontrollable bowel growling has taken over. And we pulled in that Chevron station, had to go in there and get the key. You know, it's got the long stick hanging on the key so we could get in there. And I'll tell you, oh my gosh, we had a tough time all the way into Las Vegas. So we finally get up there. I go up. We all went to our rooms and we got ourselves all cleaned up, got our swimming trunks on. I was the first one back down to the water. Got down there and I looked. And everybody around the pool was just beautiful people all the way around the pool. The pool was so blue. This was in September. And golly, I just thought to myself, I can't wait to get in that pool. So I went up on that diving board and off I went. Oh my God, when I hit that water, it almost took my breath. It was so damn cold. They had pumped that pool up fresh, and it was from a 10,000 foot down below the desert there, and it was cold. Oh, and whoa, man, I tell you, I almost took my breath. But wow, we had so many good times. We both had cruising vans. My sister and her husband had a cruising van, but on this particular trip, we only went in one van so we could all be together. And we just toured the whole United States. Oh yeah, it can be, Montezuma's revenge can take its toll on you. And it can make you sick. I mean, you can really, if you don't get electrolytes back in your system, you know, you can become ill. You need to maybe get some, was it 7-Up or something like that, or Gatorade or something to get electrolytes back in your system. Well, we got a good turnout. Well, there's 6 people still in here. You guys throw some questions out there. We're gonna. All right, we got Dave in Cincinnati. Go ahead, Dave. Tell us, well, what's on your mind today? I'm gonna be Larry King. I need me some suspenders. Pop my suspenders. Whatever comes up in your mind, put it out there, and we'll see if we can address the issue. So, Quick Shoe 6, you're up in New York now. like I say, I spent a lot of time up there because a lot of the drivers didn't want to drive in that congestion. They didn't want to go up in that part of the. I love going to New York. We at one time had a famous relative that lived. He was the president and CEO of Time Magazine. He was also the CEO at Time Warner. He was the publisher. He was the head guy over Southern Living. He's got like 30 or 40 magazines. They used to be my brother-in-law. My sister-in-law, she's passed on, but he's a wonderful gentleman. And he lived up on 45th Avenue. He lived up in the Time Building. He had a big penthouse up there. And he had a big house up in Connecticut. He lived between Michael J. Fox and David Letterman. His home is where he lived. But when he was in New York, he lived at the Time Building on the 45th floor. Or he lived up high. I don't know what floor he's on. I've been invited to come up there, but I never did make it up there. He don't live there anymore. He came down and bought a huge place in Alabama, 500 acres here, and turned it into a game reserve down by Auburn University. He's an alumni of Auburn University. They're scattered. The Minuteman silos go from, see, you got Minuteman 1 and 2 up into the Dakotas. And when you got to Minuteman 3, you had Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana, Cheyenne. You had, we put Minuteman 3s in Montana, Wyoming, and Missouri. Plus, we got them in Alabama. They're scattered out there in a big grid. And the interesting thing about the Minutemen, when I wanted to talk, let's just say that I was in Lima 1, Lima. All your silos are they have alphabetically numbers and letters and numbers. Let's just say I wanted to talk to Lima 5. You go over and pick up the microphone and you go, you blow into it 3 times. And a guy would come back to you and say, how can I connect you? And you go, Lima 6 or Lima 5. And he would connect you to Lima 5 or Lima 6. There was no wires in the microphone. Once it left your shack, it went into an air system. And you spoke on compressed air. And this covered hundreds of miles of compressed air. You had stations everywhere that was filled full of dry nitrogen. You were speaking on dry nitrogen, compressed nitrogen. And the reason you had to blow on it is to open the channel. So if anybody else fixes to make a call, if I get my noise in there before anybody else, then I get the next connection, because you can't have a whole bunch of people going in the same direction. After I have been switched over to Lima 5, then somebody else can come in and join in, and it's an air system. And the way they do it is, let's just say that if you got wires in it, any wire can be hacked. Any wire, you can surveil it from 300 miles up of a satellite, and you can pick up audio and you can detect signals on wire, but you can't do it on air. It don't travel out. It stays contained within the conduit. Well, I really, those are stories you see on TV. You should ask that question of the Pentagon, because stuff you see on TV is made to cause anger and hate. Not all the stuff you saw on TV was correct. There was a lot of, I tell the story, and then this guy tells the story, and somebody else tells their version of the same story, but time it goes down 4 or 5 channels there, it's not the same story. Not to say that there wasn't things going on. For over 50 years, we flew over China. We had a thing called the U-2. We had the SR-71. We've done this forever. But all of our electronic stuff surveilled, and there was nothing that they could gather any information. It was not systems that there had been any chance of it of being able to do the things that was reported. There's always somebody's got the story. They know for a fact because they got an uncle that knew a guy, and he was a cousin to the fellow that lived next door, and he knew stuff. And he reported it to that TV channel that was more than happy to make our country look bad. I love my country. My country, I love it. I sent my kids to fight in it to keep those stars up there. My kids went and fought and they lost body parts. And I love my country, and I hate anybody that would purposely try to harm my country by some phony ass bullshit story just so they can sell the public. So a news commentary sitting there making $15 million a year can tell his version about how bad this goddamn government is. Goddamn son of a bitch. Well, he gets paid $15 million to incite you to believe anything he has to say. That's his job. His son ain't going to die. They're protected. They're special. When my sons went to war, they could have died. Oh, bye-bye, Joyce. Well, I was hoping that you could come in and verify what I'm saying is, well, you would have said so. You'd have said, oh, Jerry, that's just a bunch of bullshit you're telling there. Why don't you just back off and give it a break for a minute? That's a story that they would like for you to believe, that we're so compassionate that we didn't want any of our little kindergarten people hurt or killed. I'm going to tell you this. If we can go into a Vietnamese village and kill every man, woman, and child there, we don't give a rat's ass about your little kid. I'm going to tell you that. We don't care about your kid or their kid or whatever. If you have an act of aggression against our country, you will die. I don't give a damn what kind of party you represent or what your beliefs are. There's people that, like I say in the beginning, that would love to discredit America, even to insult our own children that's fighting in war. As a ham operator, I would listen to the bullshit people said on the radio and talk about all kinds of things they had no idea what they was talking about, because they was following the news service, and that news service was telling them what to say, and they would be repeating it on the radio, and they would be bad-mouthing our president, whichever one it happened to be. Remember, we had George Bush. We had a lot of them in there during the war. George Bush took the troops into the Middle East, went over back to Afghanistan, Iraq, Baghdad, and all that kind of stuff. But it went on through several administrations. And they would get on there and they would be bad-mouthing the administration, knowing that my children are fighting for the country. My children were in harm's way, and so was a lot of American children. And they was discredited in our own president, while our kids are putting their lives on the line to defend the country, and they took an oath to the nation, not to the president. You take an oath. You don't take no oath to no president. They're not kings. They're not kings. They're just presidents, a representative body representing the American voter, regardless of whatever party. Okay, let's just say it left Beijing. How come the other countries didn't shoot it down if it posed a threat? Did they have all their equipment turned off? Ain't it something that everybody's always picking on us? We're, people coming after us. I don't live in that kind of fear because I know my military. And I'm going to tell you, people talking about taking over America, these goddamn little half-breed, inbred little fools that represent some kind of a little Gestapo type operation in America, and talking about the stuff they're going to do inside of America. All my children were trained by the U.S. military, and all my uncles and relatives and cousins are all trained by the U.S. military, regardless of whatever party. You ain't going to call them up and have any of them to take action against their own country. So them people, them little Nazi, little goose-stepping cocksuckers, doing the damn Nazi flag waving down the streets of Columbus, Ohio and stuff like that, they can pack their shit and go home or go back somewhere, because our people are not going to allow that to ever to happen. You have a right to protest and a right to assemble, a right to free speech, but don't ever try to think you can take up arms against America, because you're not going to be fighting Democrats and Republicans. You're going to fight Americans. You're going to fight American people that will die before they ever allow any rat shit piece of scum to come in here and to lead some kind of an insurrection against America. America is strong. It will stay strong. And it's still strong. And America is beautiful. America is great. It has been great for my 84 years. I've helped to make it great, and you can too. I don't need a political party to make my country great. My country is great, and I love my country. I love my people that have helped me to keep this flag flying on my wall. Hello, Mr. Sick. Thank God you came by when you did. I was on a tirade. There's a lot of people, Thomas, like with Dick Cheney, and a lot of people like, he was head of Halliburton. They're in this patriotism that they wear is based upon money. Oh, I love it, Salty Badger. Thank you, man. How come you don't have a monkey ranch? I know I've given them to you before. Oh, you do. Maybe this is the same thing from StreamYard. So, and that's a beautiful saying, and it doesn't have to have a party associated with it. It should be a spirit in your heart to help make that flag fly right there. Make that flag be all it can be. And there's a lot of us still alive that can help make that flag be all it can be. And I'm one of them. And I won't go down easy, because I am an American. I'm not a party official. I'm an American. I was born American. And I intend to stay that way. Oh, of course, red, white, and blue. You don't know how many of my family has died from the flag. I was born in the deepest of Confederacy. All of our family came in through the 4th colony, and we stayed in the 4th colony. We didn't migrate to the north. And when George Washington wanted to with his Revolutionary Army to stand up to the British. He came down to my people here in Alabama. I can take you to a cemetery just filled full of my people, Alabama people, ridge runner, hickernut chasers, rock throwers, mule riding people of Alabama, and said, "Can you give us a hand here?" And they walked from Alabama to Virginia and joined up with General George Washington. And so they give all they could do, and the cemetery is filled up with them over there. And then all of the wars since then, Alabamians have been there, including all my relatives. And my children is raised the same way. Here's the odd thing is, you go, yeah, that's part of your Southern heritage. But how about all my kids? They were born out west. They didn't have no Southern heritage because they had the love for their country. And I get so mad when I hear people refer to the people in Washington being a snowflakes and all that bullshit. Man, my people went to war for you. My people went to war for this country. Call one of them a snowflake while you're looking at his wounds on his body, his missing feet, and all the anguish that one would go through as a horribly wounded American soldier. And you tell him he's a snowflake. Hey, boy, Salty. So everybody said you should go to the Veterans Hospital over in Birmingham. I took a friend of mine, 2-4, you're just too kind. I took my friend of mine. He may be dead now. He was dying. He may be young. I took him over there, and we stayed 8 hours. We had to park way down there and get on the bus and ride up to the hospital, and we stayed there for 8 hours. They said, "We're not going to be able to see you today." The problem being was he needed a pacemaker, a defibrillator pacemaker. And the state of Alabama said, "Hell no, we ain't going to pass out them damn defibrillators." And so they had to get an act of Congress to approve the defibrillators for our veterans. It's kind of odd, but if you had money, you could go to UAB and get a defibrillator. But a veteran is living on his little pension, going to the Veterans Hospital. And then I had another friend, he's gone too. He would get a jug of oxycodone every month. They give him a 200 count oxycodone and he'd eat them down, and he died. They fed instead of treating him, they fed him his pain pills and helped him to ease him out of this country, out of this world, eliminated his suffering. I probably made a mistake of getting off on this patriotic thing because it can hurt people's feelings because they are sold on a party. They're sold on this, sold on that. They can show you proof when the other party ain't worth a shit. They can show you all the statistics and analysis and data and everything, but they keep forgetting about the flag. They keep forgetting about the country itself. We can't sacrifice the country for a political motivation where it's my party, your party. No, we're Americans. All of my relatives that went to war, asked Buck Brown when he went to war, did he ask the boy when the incoming rounds were coming in up there in Kandahar or somewhere, did he ask him, "Are you a Democrat?" Hell no. He got in that hole and prayed that he didn't get his nuts blown off. And the party and all that stuff is really pretty on paper when you're sitting around in an office. But when you get on the ground where there's people dying, the party seems to be quite a ways away from you. Salty, man, you're so right on. Oh, there's Rain. Look, there's a good human being right there too. Hey, Rain, and Miss Lottie. I'm glad you folks came in to kind of save old Mac. Old Mac, it gets off into a tirade. I'm an angry old guy. Old guys get angry really bad. Not angry. No, these people here, they're just asking questions, and we're talking about things. I get angry when I allow my mind to go into the area where people would doubt my flag. Um, that's the reason I wear it all the time. You see, look at you, look at my videos. When I ride, I got my camouflage stuff on. I wear all that stuff. It ain't because I'm trying to look pretty or hostile or trying to look manly or nothing like that. I do this for my children. They wore this in combat. These BDUs, I got a pair in the closet over there that I bought at Fort Chaffee. Fort Chaffee is in Arkansas. And I bought them. My son just came home from war. He was over at Fort Sill, and he'd come over to visit some of his relatives there on the Oklahoma-Arkansas border. And we went to the commissary at Fort Chaffee, and I bought a nice, I wanted a new outfit. I hadn't had any in years. I had a lot of used stuff that I'd buy at Army surplus, but I bought a nice fitting outfit. Not only did it make me feel secure when I wore it, and also knowing that every time I saw a soldier, I'd let him know how much I appreciated his love for his country. I never asked him his party. Lolly, Rain. First of all, let me go here. Rain, meh. We go back a ways. How is life treating you? Can you give me a quick little how is life for you? And hello, Robin. I hope I didn't miss you. I'm doing living the dream. Well, hey, I'm almost 85 years old. Do you know a nice, sweet, good-looking, say 82-year-old woman that would like to go fishing? That's all we can do now is dip the pole in the water. uh, Sick. I didn't ignore you when you came in. I'm happy to see you. And I know I got to be getting off here pretty quick. You should have seen me out playing in the snow yesterday. I had the old motorcycle out there, and I didn't do no trick stuff. You know, I didn't do like Ray Gregory over there doing donuts in his yard. He had big piles of snow, and he was throwing snow everywhere. I didn't do that, but I did go for a ride. Yeah, that's what I see. What I'm wanting is like a young, say a 30-year-old that has their own bass boat and knows how to bait a hook and has the big trolling motor and a big bank account. See, old guys, we all need a lot of money. We need money. Now, friends, y'all see my dollar sign right over there. Now, y'all just dig deep in that pocketbook right down there, you know, and just throw old Mac some chump change his way, you know. No, please don't do that. No, don't do that. This is my first year in my almost 85 years of living that I'm not going to pay taxes. I talked with H&R last year, and she said, you don't need to pay taxes anymore. You're good to go. And So, but as long as you don't have any money, as long as you stay broke, you don't have to pay taxes. And I'm gonna stay that way. I do everything I can to stay broke. I just took a 6,000-mile ride out to the West Coast. That helped me to stay broke. No money, no taxes. See, that's my scheme right there. Yeah, we still enjoy the kind of living we did when I was born in 1940. We still enjoy. I love a plate full of gravy and biscuits. I still eat that right now today. And oh yes, you said a mouthful right there. The best things in life are free. You know what is so beautiful is to see a brand new flower budding, or to see the robins, cardinals coming, sitting on my windowsill right here in the snow. And I go out and I feed the birds. I go out and take them, and they all come gathering around me, and oh, they're happy. I'll just put the feed, and I've had them land on my arms, and they'll just be squabbling over that feed, and I put the feed out there, and that's beautiful. It's for free. Well, a little bit for the feed, but um, oh yeah, I like scrambled eggs. It's called egg gravy. I don't know if you've ever had it, Lolly, but when you're making you brown your roux or your flour, get it nice and brown with some bacon grease or something, and then whoop up about 6 eggs with maybe some half and half or some good cream in it, and pour that into that gravy instead of putting water in your gravy or milk. Put that egg and milk in that gravy and make an egg gravy. Whoa, good God, that is good. It is good for me. And you get two things. You get the gravy, which has beautiful flavor. Oh, you got it. Oh, let me see. Make sure do you have a question for me, Robin? Good question. Oh, I, I'm going to tell you. We fix that right here. We fix that right here. Chipped beef on toast was a way of life for most all of our early American GI people. Then when they got over to Germany, they had Shast on the shingle, of course, and every GI knows about that stuff. But we make it here. We still eat that kind of stuff as well. Snow angels. I got enough of snow in the back deck out there. I'd have to set my camera up and everything, but I think I've still got one snow angel left in me. I can just go out there, squat down and lay over backwards, just flop out there and just spread my arms. I got a 7-foot wingspan, so my deck is only 22 foot wide, so I got plenty of room to do a snow angel out there. Well, like I said last night when we was talking, um, life was beautiful for me in the 40s, because I'm going to tell you about what it was like in the 40s. Economically, we were depressed. Times were really, really hard. I was the son of a coal miner, and the mines was always on a strike because they didn't want to pay the miners nothing. And my daddy was trying to get a $5 a day wage, and $5 a day, not an hour, $5 a day. And they went on a strike during the Korean War. Times was really, really hard. And the company spent millions of dollars to make our life so miserable. Because, see, if you got a little bunch of little whining babies, my mama had 10 kids. But when we was little, we had a whole bunch of kids at my house. And you get a bunch of whining and crying babies, and that makes daddy have to go up there and, do things to possibly try to get the company back to work and all that kind of stuff. But they would never compromise their principles. Miners are like American soldiers; they don't compromise. And so we live in some really tough times there. But to see the spring flowers and see the natural beauty, see a starlit night. See, when you're at the age 10 or 12 years of age, you can see all the stars so clear. And those beauties, the things that you can see, they're all for free. To watch the big, powerful steam trains coming up out of the canyon, bringing 100 coal cars loaded to the hilt, dragging it up the grade. And there was so much beauty that abound. You didn't have to look far. All you had to do is stop and look around, and there was things of beauty. See a brand new little beagle puppy. You had to see a new calf being born. Watch a little baby piglet suckling his mom. Truly a thing of beauty, and it's for free. And then a guy told me, he said, if you work for me this summer, I've got a motorcycle I'll give you, but you got to work for it. And it was a 1948 service cycle, U.S. military colors, built and made for the military, called a service cycle. 2-stroke engine. I worked all summer for that thing. He started it up and we took off, and I lived 7 miles from where I got the bike. But I ran out of gas because he only had like a gallon to put in it. But I didn't know about the mixing the gas and oil. We didn't know about things like that as much. I was only 14 years of age. So I ended up pushing that all summer long, trying to get it started again. And finally got my uncle, he worked on it. He said, well, you little fool, you got to mix the gas and oil, and he tinkered with it and got it running. And that was a love of my life, that bike was. That's another love. Just, man, turn that throttle and make it go. You had a belt drive, and you had a lever right here by your leg. And after you get started out, you push on that lever, and that would put it up in the higher gear. It made it, you had, and when you pull back on the lever, it'd go to neutral. It just took the tension off the belt. You had a great big old rear drive back there, because you only had like a 3 or 4 horsepower gasoline motor on it. You didn't have 30, 40, 50, 100 horsepower. No, you had a 3 or 4 horsepower 2-stroke engine. And that was so much fun. Stop and smell the roses. That's right. Rain, I am so happy you stopped by here. I mentioned to other people about people we've run across that inspired me to be all that I could be, because I was seeing through Journey and some of the other outlets there where people was giving all they had to give for whatever cause that they were working on. Let me tell you this, Robin, we used to have African drakes. We had turkeys and we had African drakes. All right, this African drake has a big top notch on the top of its head. And we had these big tom turkeys, and they would spread their feathers and they would drag their feathers on the ground, and they'd come strutting and they run straight at you. And we'd be chased by the turkey. And this African drake, we did everything in our world we could do to kill that drake. we tied firecrackers on his legs and lit them and throw them in the air, and he'd get 30 feet off the ground, the firecrackers would go off, and he'd go 60 feet in the air. But we never could hurt him, couldn't kill him. And because he was mean, he'd put that head down to the ground and he'd come at you. So one time the turkey was chasing me, and I was running by a privet row, and from out of nowhere came the African drake from hell. That damn thing came down, and he wrapped that big old neck around that turkey. He took that head and got a hold of the back of the turkey's head. The turkey's got this meat-like stuff on his head, and he grabbed a hold of a big chunk of that meat, and that big old drake was shaking that turkey. I'm telling you, that drake had already fell in love with me because him and I was mean, and he liked how mean I was. So he was a glutton for punishment. He liked the little S&M on the side there, and but he ain't gonna let that turkey mess with me. And oh man, what a combat! If I'd had a video camera and took a picture of that African drake fighting that big old tom turkey, that would be. Come here, little buddy. Come here, little buddy. Look here, Rain. Yes, I've been chased by a turkey. This is our newest little acquisition. We got him back in December. His name is Colton. He's 14 years old. Colton is a good little old man. He can twerk. If you don't believe Colton can't twerk, Rain, go to my page over there, Old Mac, and go over on my shorts and look at little Colton twerking. Now, he can twerk, man. I mean, he's got all the body motions and everything. He's good at it. You're a little twerker, aren't you, little buddy? Look at these folks right here. Give me a little salute there. Hey. Oh, you see that on the couch over on the couch. Oh, you want to get over where the bag is, don't you? Whoa! Look at right here, buddy. Look here. Yeah, he's 14 years old. Yeah, twerk. Look, if you go over to my page, well, yes, he does. He's white, same color beard, and he wears a combat vest, just like me. Yeah, look up on my short there and see Colton doing the twerking. You know, he's twerking to the oldies. He could embarrass Richard Simmons. Yeah, Richard Simmons. He would be sweating to the oldies, and the kind of abuse he had to take. But he was so flamboyant, you know. I mean, what I'm saying is that I think he rebelled. He loved that kind of abuse. You know, it got people probably took advantage of his situation, but he made some money off those kind of people that would put him in his place. Yeah, he'd be sweating to the oldies. Everybody knew Richard Simmons. I think I guess he expired, didn't he? Yeah, I'm Grandma Fanny. Oh, you can call me Grandma Maxine. Yeah, I'm old Maxine. I'm Robin's grandmother, Maxine. I was going to show you. Get down there, Waller again, little buddy. You down there, he was just wallering and jumping up and down. He's such a little character. Come here, little buddy. Come on. There we go. Um, yeah, Grandma Maxine. Yeah, that's Grandma Maxine. Little buddy, you have got stuff on your little vest. Where you been wallering? Is my floors that dirty? Oh, yes, they are. Well, I live in the woods, and everything is wet out there. When you come in, it tracks stuff in. I make no excuses. Yeah, Angelique Sheeber came in and brought me this cold beer, and I've been talking. I should have swallowed this down a long time ago, but I'm trying to stretch it out and make it last as long as I can. Yeah, his name is Colton, and he's such a good little guy. He's an old little guy too, man. I mean, he thinks he's a gorilla. You're bad to the bone, ain't you, little buddy? Can't hardly see, and he can't hear nothing, but he can sure fart. Mm-hmm. He's one hell of a farter. Yeah, that was an epic battle between the meanest turkey you ever seen in your life. We never could catch the turkey, so we'd have tied cherry bombs on the bottom of his feet and made him fly. Swatted him in the butt and made him fly, but we never could catch it. But the old Drake, see, you could capture him pretty easy. He didn't have a good flying ability, but he could fly when he strapped the firecrackers on him. But they lived a nice life there. Yeah, he's went belly up on us. Richard Simmons, but a lot of people worked out to him, and he lived a good life. But I think his end came pretty tragic. Uh, there's so many people that had beautiful lives, and they ended so tragic, like Casey Kasem, top 10 countdown. Look at Little Richard, not Little Richard. Ooh, yeah, the one that go, I feel good. Um, they drug his body all over Atlanta and drug him until meat started falling off him, because everybody wanted to see him one last time. Now, my girls really got mad at me, Thomas, for using the word heifer. I was calling Angelica a little heifer, and my sister let me know that she didn't like me to call her a little heifer. James Brown, you got it there quick. James Brown. Here you go. Wow! Woo! I feel good. It made you feel good just hearing him feeling good. Yeah, we got to know some really, really good people. I got to meet BB King back in the day. I just mentioned him last night. We went up to his bar up in Austin, Texas. Black guy, singer, country singer. I met some really good people. Oh, I got to meet Janis Joplin. Oh, I love Janis Joplin. I loved her. I loved her. I loved her music. I love it when a woman can scream like that. I always like to make a woman scream, in pure happiness and delight. And she made me feel so good. She used to do that turtle blues. It's been referred to as mean woman blues or turtle blues. And I lived part of that tragic life. I met her at Haight Ashbury in Golden Gate Park, my wife and I, in 1968. He likes hot stuff, Thomas. He does eat a little hot stuff, but not that really. Gilley's Bar. We were talking last night about Gilley's. Somebody mentioned Billy Bob's, but Billy Bob was a place, but Gilley's where we used to go to over there near Fort Worth. And God, hell yeah! I mean, that was the place to go. We went over there. Some of my kids came home from war. We went over there. We was at a NASCAR event, and we were at the Sheraton Hotel there in Granbury. Is it Granbury? Uh, Wherever the NASCAR track is near Fort Worth. And we ventured out, but of course, as you know, later the place burned down. Yeah, Gilley's was notorious for being rough. I mean, not that they was more tolerant of being mean and stuff like that. It was just the kind of crowd that was drawn to Gilley's versus Billy Bob's. Hey, Dave, my friend. Oh man, I was so happy to see you made it home safely. John Travolta. Yeah, he had I think didn't he have some kind of a horrible tax thing that took place, and then his place got burnt down. We don't know. We don't know how that turned out. Dave, we're so blessed that you're back home and your music. What a great thing you did. You created all that good background music so that they can never come after you. All the sounds. I mean, it is so indigenous. It had the didgeridoo to me, had in my mind, I could almost hear the didgeridoo in the background. I could almost see indigenous people by what the various instruments as they blended together, and I loved it. It was just the perfect music for your ride. Yeah, Dave, you're the perfect representative of Australia. You do more. I'm gonna tell you, we learned more about Australia through you than we ever did anything we learned in history. We actually was. I'm gonna be honest with you, Dave. I like to be brutally honest right up front. We was always afraid of Australia police when we came up. We saw all that stuff, all the movies, like good movies coming out of Australia, but the police was so brutal. They were just goddamn evil, and we was like, what you kind of reminded me of, Dave. Your Australian police, no matter wherever you was at, it was very much like a Southern cop. What you looking at, boy? Spit a big mouthful of snuff at you. They got your number, boy. Come here, boy. And they always scared us. The bikers. We were always on the biker side. any movie that came out of Australia had bikes in it. We were 100% with the bikers, not with the police. We never wanted the law to win in Australia because we was afraid of them. Now, it's an odd thing though. Now, we never was really afraid of the bobbies in England. With their little hats, funny little hats, and their little sticks they carried. But them people, they did a good job. People wasn't kind, and there was a lot of meanness going on in Europe over there. But them bobbies, man, they'd wade into places. They didn't have to have a 40 cal or a M16 and nothing like that. They just go in and beat heads in with the billy sticks. Oh, yeah, I mean, I love the country, and but I was always afraid of the law because it seemed like they was overbearing to me. It appeared in what I saw as, and remember this, I came from a law and order state, Alabama, where there, you remember my story about Bad Eye Tuggle, Mr. Bad Eye. I had to ask him how come he had a bad eye, and he let me know. He pulled that pistol out. Now he didn't verbally tell me. He pulled his pistol out and pointed at my little pineapple sized head, and he said, squinting down the barrel of a 38 at punks like you, boy. That's when I took off running. Uh, that's Mr. Bad Eye Tuggle. His son went on to be the mayor of the town. They kept it in the family name. We was all afraid of him. His reputation, he'd killed so many men. And the one he didn't kill, he beat him down with a billy stick. But that's how we was raised. Life was hard and the police was hard. And the police was always on the side of the company. They never was on the side of the miner. To them, the miner was always going to get beat down. They'd break their fingers with a stick, and they were just mean. But that's movie making. I've always had a love for Australia. Didn't want to interfere with the train. Had to let it get out of the station. Yeah, I have to open the door and let the train go through. Well, I think, see, it's 5 o'clock now. I think they'll start gathering up over there at the duct tape thing. My signal's been holding up really good. I loved it, man. I tell you, Dave, your first trip versus your second trip, you was more attuned to what the audience needed to see from you. On your first trip, it was whatever that you put out. It was really interesting. I enjoyed following you, but this one was like choreographed. I had more of put a lot more. And I think that movie director that you had back in the summer that rode with you, you took him for a ride out there, out around Perth. I think some of that rubbed off on you, Dave. And from my perspective, on your first journey, it was kind of, you had a mission. Now, the mission on your first journey was to get the word out about cannabis, about medical cannabis, and you did a good job on that. I loved when you met people and I like that movie too, Long, Long Way. When you met people from all different places as you travel, this time I think you had a lot better, oh my God, at one place when you went over there, and it's the longest stretch in Australia. I think it's either 90 miles or 90 kilometers. I think it was probably measured in kilometers, but it said the longest stretch in Australia. And when you ride out on old Route 66, when we took a trip in 1966, I'm sorry, 1956, my first time on Route 66, oh, 2-4, I can't wait for that day to happen. And if you do, I'm going to have a bunch of my buddies to show up. 146 kilometers, 90 miles. Okay, all right, that's a long stretch. On Route 66 there, I think there's a stretch over there like 35 continuous flat miles, Um, and that was long. I crossed Route 66 the first time in a Greyhound bus, and then I drove across it many times after that. Um, and I'm going to get to you. Um, I will certainly enjoy my share of the tall Colwins. I call it Tolwins. I'll certainly enjoy my share. We had a group of folks came over here, and over here outside the house, we set up an umbrella and a picnic table, and it was like 100 damn degrees, and they brought in several 18 packs, and we iced it down, and we sat out here, and oh my gosh, we just had just a good throwdown out there. Hey, Sick, let me know when we're getting close to time to get off here for the duck guys. Lorraine, please don't stay away too long. If you find that, remember this. Now, she's got to have some looks on her now. I want a woman to look good. I want her to, when she rides on my Harley, she's got to look good. And you got a nice a lady there that would like to go for a ride on the Harley. We only charge $30 an hour, so we can get them booked in. Have a good time till we talk again. Have a great rest of the weekend. I love you. Yeah, there's some long stretches. uh, thank you, sweetheart. Yeah, it's a long stretch. I tell you, the longest trip I ever took in my life to go to Washington State was this year, or actually 2024. All the passes was closed. We called ahead. I-29 was closed from Kansas City up towards Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Um, Gallup, New Mexico was closed down. I-70 across Colorado was closed down. I-80 was closed down. You couldn't get across the Lincoln Memorial Highway to pass there. Yes, sir. I did get my kicks on Route 66. And more ways than one. Um, so we had to go from here down to New Orleans, over to San Antonio, El Paso, Tucson, Southern California, and all the way the full length of California through Oregon into Washington. Over 3,000 miles from here. And we had to do a reverse trip. But on the way back, we called and they said we could get through Flagstaff and Gallup. So we came back on 80. I'm sorry, 40, on 40. I have 40. called Towins. That's it. Yeah, man. Well, my tongue got hooked into my eye teeth and I couldn't see what I was saying. Um, oh, my little doggy, he's wanting to get down there and eat with the other dog. You know, that bowl of food can sit there, and you let one dog start eating out, and the other really, at that moment, needs to eat out of it so bad, don't you, little buddy? Yeah, Stick, let me know if we're fixing to infringe upon anybody that wants to get started out over there. Well, looks like we're losing people in a hurry. Oh, they must be all leaving to go to the Duck Dynasty duct tape crew. Yeah, we're down to 4 now. They're dropping out like flies, man. I'm too old. I'm too old to cut the mustard. Too old to cut the mustard. When I was young and had a lot of pep, I could get along without a lot of help. Now that I am old and gray, here's all I have to say. Too old, too old. I'm too old, ain't I, little buddy? Bless your heart. Uh, well, you heard it from our friends here on the internet. I'm too old, so. Oh, you did 66. I did it one time. Uh, we did it. Well, let me tell you. I think I've told you, Sick, about a journey. We had a 500cc matchless. See, back in the 50s, those kind of machines were everywhere. 500cc matchless. It's an English bike that's a one cylinder that makes 500 cc's, big thumper. And we got an opportunity. A buddy of mine said, let's go to Midland, Texas. And I go, why do you want to go to Midland, Texas? They go, oh, hell. They got the best women in Midland, Texas. They're kind of like Chiricahua, Apache, mixed with Irish, Indian, and German, and a little Mexican thrown in just for flair. They're wow thing. I know I love you. So I said, hell yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So we take off, and that old 500cc matchless had to be rested every once in a while. It would get tired, and it let you know it when you pull the throttle wide open, and it had a struggle making up some of the grades. You know, you need to let the thing rest a little bit. And we were hard on equipment then, but we got over to Longview, Texas. Seen a storm out there. And we looked for a bridge. There was no place to get under it. And we said, hey, we're in deep doo-doo right here. So we got off on the side of the road and we laid our bikes over and crawled under the bike, let the handlebar stick into the bank. And here come all that hail about the size of golf balls. And it was hitting everything. And any piece of the meat that was sticking out from under that bike got stung, you know. And next thing you know, there was like 3 feet of water coming down that ditch. So we had to get up and ride on in the rain and lightning. Oh, it was just striking. Yeah, that was a ride to Midland, Texas. I don't know if you've been to Midland, but it's over there on the west side. On the west side of Texas there. And there was nothing there in the 50s. There were some adobe houses, but there was pretty women there. I went back again in 1970. Yeah, in 1970, I went back to Midland, and there was still pretty women there. There's a lot of pretty women in Midland, Texas. They feel like women's got a little bit of a suntan to them, got a little darker color skin than you, and maybe not speak the same language you do. They can speak pretty good English, and you gotta like tortillas. I went over there and I watched this girl that I was with. She took me over there, and her mama was she'd do it tortillas. She'd pinch her off that masa, and she'd be doing that tortilla, throwing it over in that stove, and the little girls, their job was to turn the tortillas over, flipping them over. Boy, they were so good at that. Boy, they were just patting them things out, and they would make tortillas there so fast, and they would roll up stuff. They would have pork and various things that was cooked in a big old pot, and they'd strip out some pork and put it inside that tortilla and roll it up. They poured that gravy. They had a name for the Mexican gravy. It was sort of like a red sauce, and they'd pour it all over a meat and then roll it up in that tortilla, and they'd have a lot of pepper. Back in them days, people didn't worry about your health eating peppers. They eat it. Everybody eat peppers back in them days. And you'd go to any of those adobe houses there in Midland, and where the clothesline was at, they would be chili peppers hanging on the lines, and they would put big clusters of them, and they would tie the line and stuff so that the chili peppers be hanging on the line. Man, that was some good days. That was good life. It was just hard to beat it. Well, Flip, when I get off on a tangent talking, I don't mean to leave anybody out. I just simply get all wound up about things, talking about stuff, and um, a lot of times talk about things that shouldn't be spoke about. I guess. I mean, makes people apprehensive. Like I'm not fixing to flip out or go ballistic and nothing. I just have subjects I prefer to stay away from because I don't have the temperament to be a good moderator about stuff like that. I don't have even enough of character to be able to carry on a good conversation without coming off looking like a jerk. But that's just me. Little buddy, I know you want down. Here you go. Whoa. Go over and play with that dog. Look right here. There's a little doggy right here. Look. Huh? Oh, you got rain? Oh, last night, you remember Rod B was in here, and he was talking about it was so noisy where he was at. The rain on that metal roof was so coming down so heavy that he couldn't hear us very well. Oh my God, yes. I used to like rodeo women too. I was a cowboy for a while, and I used to hang around the rodeos, and we went over to Pendleton, Oregon. That's a nice big rodeo there. We lived in Chowchilla. That's where the world famous cowboy Donnie Gay was like 6 or 7 time world champion rider. He ended up being like an announcer for rodeos, but we have seen him ride in so many places. Well, I was married to a Cherokee woman, and I can attest to a fact that I'm going to tell you. One time, I was going to go salmon fishing. I was married to a Cherokee woman, And oh, caliente gravy, yeah, really hot, man. Um, I was going to go salmon fishing with this friend of mine. We already had it all planned up, and she said, "You know, tomorrow is one of the kids' birthday, and I don't remember which one now." And I go, "Yeah, but I've already got a charter boat. I'm gonna get this rental boat, and we're gonna go out in a kicker boat, and I've already reserved it." And she really expressed that she did not want me to go. But I went ahead and got my stuff and grabbed my fishing rod. And when I started out the door, She hit me in the back of the head with a cast aluminum pot that she had cooked mac and cheese in the night before. Boom! Right in the back of the head. Hello, Lucy. So when I got over to my friend's house, when I got over to my friend's house, his name was Coco Cerna, a Mexican guy that loved fishing too. And I got over to his house and he come over there where close to where I was at. He said, "Hey," he used to call me Mr. T. He said, "Mr. T, man, you're leaking." I said, "What do you mean you're leaking?" He said, and I reached my hand back there and the whole back of my neck was wet. And I looked at my hand, it was covered in blood. I went, "Oh, hell." He said, "Let me do this." He went over and got a sandwich bag and filled it up like a quart-sized bag full of ice. And I put it on the back of my head and it split my head open where that skin is real thin and right at the back of your head there. And it split it open right across that bone ridge there. And so I put that ice on there and pulled my hoodie up over it so the ice bag would stay in there. And we went off and fished. Caught a lot of fish. Oh, I'm back. I'm glad, buddy, that you're back with us there, Toga. We've got Lucy has just come in and joined us. Let me see. Anybody else in here new? There's a few folks in here. We're going to wind this up pretty quick because I want to give them guys plenty of time to get to all their equipment warmed up and all that kind of stuff. And I so apologize for my lack of decorum, my my so radical views on stuff. I shouldn't have went in that direction. But I think a question was asked, and I always feel obligated to answer the question. But we're here to bring love to people and happiness. No, this should be a safe harbor where you can come and tell you jokes or talk about your new grandson or granddaughter or that new bass boat, that new trike. I watched Dave over there at the Harley shop yesterday. Dave over in Australia. Now he done went to the Harley shop, and of course I named them all the bikes, different marijuana names. Sporty Kush, Road King gummies. Because man, you get a high off just going to a Harley shop. You go into the shop and it's a candy company, man. It's the candy store. $100 an hour, HD Tech. Yep. Oh, they don't hesitate to take your money. And listen to this: you don't like it, just move on. You don't. They're not out begging for your help. Um, yeah, people. They if they. Oh, you noticed yesterday. I think you did. You see my video I put out yesterday? Sick when I rode my. I think you did. Yeah, when I rode my Harley out here in the snow. Unfortunately, I didn't use my regular camera. I used a security camera, and it went into a phase there where it recycles because that's where I got it set up. And anyhow, yeah, I went out there and rode out there in the snow yesterday. I posted a little video of it, and I've been waiting for the snow to come so I can try it out. Good gracious. Oh, I've been using everybody's music because when you do a short, you can use 1 minute of anybody's music, and I get it right out of the library, and I don't ever get gigged on music because I want to use that. That one about when my dogs are over here, Country Boy Will Survive. That's right out of their music category. As long as it stays within 1 minute, you can use all that stuff. Oh, back to the my. Oh, I finished that story about my head leaking there. That's when we got my head cracked open. Yeah, I was going to say, Sick. You noticed when I went out there, that thing fired right off, and I did not have it hooked up to a battery saver. No, it just. I was just amazed how well it started because it had been in the cold deep freeze there for so long, but it started right up. Yeah, I've always uh, in the early years did all my tire change and all that stuff. Now that I've got older and I can't squat as good, and a lot of things I can't do as good, I let them do it now, and I pay them the price. There's Rod right there. There's Rod B right there. And good afternoon to you. It's afternoon here, and so you're early in the morning over there, buddy. Woo! You got up at the crack of dawn. I'm hoping you can hear me better tonight than you did last night because of all that rain you was having. Dave's in here too. Dave is never one that sits still very long. He's got a lot of stuff going on and a lot of things. He's getting ready for the next event, but he did come in and give us a nice thumbs up. I do too. I got a metal roof on my house, but I've got pretty high ceilings, so I can't. It's hard to hear the rain. But when it hails or when there's a lot of velocity in the rain, like when a hurricane is or a tornado is around close by, then you can hear it hitting out there. That carport out there is all metal, and you can hear that good outside my window out there. I love that sound. "5:30. Well, we're just exactly 12 hours apart. Oh my gosh. I've gotten involved, Toga, with situations where you think you're hipping this little lady, this young lady has been brutalized by a big old thug husband or boyfriend or whatever, and you step up and she tells you quickly to stay out of her business. Stay out of her business. I got a friend. I cannot tell you if he's still with us or not. Him and I retired on the same day, but he had a really beautiful fishing boat up there in Washington State, and he took a lot of people out with him in fishing excursions. And this one guy that came in from another organization and found out about the boat, and he'd been wanting to go out, and he basically asked, just kind of like weaseled his way in and asked if he could go out with him on one of his fishing trips. The guy said, "I'm going to be leaving in the morning at 5 o'clock in the morning from Browns Point, so be there and we'll go." Well, he got there and he was getting his boat ready to get in the water, and here comes this guy come rolling in, and he brings a young woman with him. Well, my friend was not having any objection about him having a young woman, but they was having a squabble, and it was going on quite a bit. He's tending to all the stuff he has to do to get the boat ready to lower down into the water. They have this thing. It's got cradle and it's got belts and lifts the boat down into the water and all that stuff. And he was getting everything ready, and the fight was getting more intense. A lot of cussing, a lot of swear words, and a lot of going on. And my friend was getting embarrassed because he goes at this pier all the time. This is this place where he goes out, and they were acting a fool. So he turned around to the guy to say to him, like, "Hey guys, there's a lot of people watching us, all because everybody going and getting their boats ready to go." When he turned around and spoke to the guy whipped out an 8-inch blade knife and cut him right below the navel, cut him all the way across, and his guts dumped out and into his breeches. And he went into shock almost immediately. And he ended up 6 months in the hospital to recover. But the last thing he said he remembered was the woman started attacking him because he stood up for her, and she got all up in his face, and then the guy cut him. The guy said that my friend was coming on to his wife. That's the reason he didn't go to prison or nothing like that. He said he was being rude to his wife or whatever, and he did this to defend his honor. But I know my friend very well, and he would not have done that. But it almost cost him his life when he interfered or thought he was doing the right thing to help this woman out so it wouldn't be so embarrassing amongst all the fisher people. Yeah, it's a tightrope you walk when you're around a couple, because it could go either direction. As y'all have seen, you have witnessed this yourself. It can be terrible. I love thunder, man. I really do. Big um, prunes really work good for old Mac. They work good for me. Well, let me see how observant everybody is here, you guys and girls out there. You can see right, right. Let me get my correct hand right there in the corner. Maybe I can do it this way. Yeah, right there. Right where my finger is, you can see that object there. Right up above it, there's an American flag. But right there, can anybody tell me what that is right there? This is going to be the question of the day. The day. Now I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you how it's going to work. Some truck drivers will know what that is. Some farmers and some ranchers will know what that is. And some of the people that's been to their uncle's house that had an uncle that was in the ham radio would know what that is. I don't need to know just like what generically what you'd call that, but what purpose does it serve? Tell me what you can tell me about that thing sitting right there. See, there's a thing right here where my finger is. You know, you can't see it clearly. Okay. Let me untangle this. There it is. There it is. Okay. Rod B, a ballast or an insulator. Toga, unicorn. That, yeah, Toga knows it's an antenna. That is a 10 meter. See that thing down there, the white thing at the bottom is called a resonator. And that's a 10-meter resonator. And you can see that's a pretty short mast, but the resonator down there makes up for the length of the mast because that white thing down at the bottom represents 28 feet. When the when it dries up out there, I'm going to display that other flag out there. I haven't put it up yet, but I had a nice one like that I used to put on the back of my Harley, same size as that one. Oh, is Lucy checking out on us? Lucy, I hope I was courteous enough to have you to come back again. Unicorns. Oh. Well, it is 5:40. I'll let it run till 6. I'll give it 20 more minutes, and then we'll wind it down. We got people in here, so we're not short of folks. If you have questions or yeah, Lucy's in here. She was in here a while ago. Uh, I think she's still in here. Let me slide this thing up here. Yeah, Lucy Warren. Yeah, she's not leaving. I think I just misread that. I thought somebody was saying bye to Lucy. Oh, you're not here. Oh, okay. You're just a figment of my imagination. The little dog, Colton, he's over there now. He's went over there. He waited patiently till Theo got up out of the bed, and then when Theo vacated the bed, he kept watching. He jumped down on my lap and ran over and got in Theo's bed because Theo's got that bed nice and warm. Plus, look at that right here. There is a beautiful lady right there. Sanity at Sea. Everybody, let's give her a yeah. There you go. Let's give her a little applause there. You're such a sweet dear. I'm telling you. I have been the luckiest human being. I have beautiful people in my life like my sweet, sweet niece, Sheila. And I love her man. She got a military guy that loves the sea. And I just love, I watch, I went up and watched the videos that he's got on the air and oh yeah, I forgot about you being, an OC too. Remember, OC's a retired Navy guy. Yeah, they lived the good life there. They worked hard. Sheila and Tyler has worked hard to have what they've got. They paid their price, and now they're going to enjoy their life. I saw you working down there. I tell you, when I saw you and Tyler laying out all them ropes and painting and doing all that stuff, and I saw that little cafe. I thought, oh my God, I bet they got some good Mexican food in there. Well, Sheila, your mama probably told you we have quite a bit of snow. Or we did get quite a bit of snow. Yeah, Sheila, I love Mexican food. Woo! Um, I should have probably I've been a Mexican as much as I like the food. I even like cooking it. Oh my gosh, we cook so we do a lot of Mexican dish. I don't know as a kid if you ever got the chance to eat. I know Roger did. I used to make enchiladas, and I would make this big pan of enchiladas all rolled up. We'd make the red gravy and all that stuff, and make the enchiladas, and then pour the red gravy, and do the shredded cheese on the top of it, and bake them in the oven. I used to take two of those in my lunch wrapped up in aluminum foil to work, stick them in the microwave, take them off the foil and put them on a plate and stick them in the microwave. And I'd eat them the next day at work. Enchiladas. Rod, now Sheila can pull some rope. She's very athletic. She's a very lady. She's a very beautiful lady, but she's also athletic. She's kept herself. She's a Navy personnel. Sheila is Navy, and her husband retired Army, and she keeps herself in physical condition. I agree. Oh my gosh, I'm telling you. Yep, I have to agree 100%. You just can't go wrong with with Mexican food. I'm convinced. My mother's mother-in-law, Mrs. Ross. You remember Mrs. Ross? My mother, her last name was Ross. But Mrs. Ross, she could cook some of the best Mexican food I ever even liked. Yeah, she made a tamale pie, and you may have gotten some of it because when we was young, we used to go to all kinds of events, and they'd make tamale pie in a big casserole dish, and oh, it was so good. No, Sheila is very athletic, fit, and she's gonna pull a lot of sales. She's gonna be, I know they probably all hooked up with electronics and stuff, but there's gonna be still a lot of ropes got to be pulled and stuff. I'd really admire her adventurous spirit, and I would like to think that she got some of that adventurous spirit from her uncle. I would like to think that because all she's known all of her life about me is my different adventures I was in. A 300-pound sailor. Woo. Yeah, we just got a lasagna the other day. I think it might have been Stouffer's. We bought it, and that was so good. I'm telling you. Yeah, we was always. You remember we had race cars. We when Roger used to come over, and we would go to Moses Lake, and we'd take all the race cars to Moses Lake and drive in the dunes. We'd go down to. Remember, we used to go to Florence, Oregon, and we had all them race cars. We load them up on the trailer and take them down there, and I wanted my kids to have fun. I want them to enjoy life, man. That's you only get that one trip. You was the trooper, Sheila. I don't want to keep holding you, but you was my idol when I was a young man, and you was going to college, and you was here and there and over yonder and back over here, and you was, if you looked up Jet Setter, you would find Sheila right up there in that list. You you made the best of your school, and you didn't. Not only was you really smart in school, and you learned what you needed to get your courses done, but you also had fun, and that comes from our side of the family, that having fun thing. Now, having fun has always been our motto, no matter what the cost. And you took education and had fun with it, and I admired that. Who in the hell would not admire the ability to go and, because you're not afraid of people. You're not hung up on people. You're open minded, about everything. You're not closed off. You travel in places I'd be scared to go in, but you don't have no fear. I think your mama's a little bit envious of you as well, because you're getting to do adventures that she never could allow herself to do. I'm not putting her down. I'm not putting her down. What I'm saying is that you're, I think she lives vicariously through you. She may not say that. I'm just saying from my observation, she's quite proud of you. She may have reservations about how she would approach different things when it comes to traveling, but you don't have those obstacles in your life. And the education is for the taking. I talked about it last night. We didn't shut down until 1:30 last night. We talked about the free things in life, and the beautiful things in life. And what was beautiful to me, Sheila, was education. To be able to pick up a book and travel through the words that's on the page and explore geographical locations. And my mind was like a sponge. I retained a lot of that. Toga, my friend Toga, if you see Toga over here on the right, Toga lives in a country where we used to have this wonderful assignment given to a lot of our employees had to go to Izmir. And I believe Toga has an ambition, or I believe some of his relatives lives in Izmir. And that's a seaport town. That's a place in Turkey. So I have a tie to Turkey, through the company that I work for. And I have now a tie to Thailand through OC and his Australian connection. It's a small world, Sheila, when you begin to open up your eyes and take a look and get on Google Earth and travel on Google Earth. If you financially can't afford to go to these places, go down at street level and look and see what the bazaar looks like in Casablanca. Go some places that you'll probably never get a chance to go, but go visit them on Google Earth. Go on YouTube and go eat some of the food. Watch people eat the food in these various communities in Turkey or in Iran or up in Thailand or Myanmar or Burma, as it used to be. Just go travel in the encyclopedia or Google Earth. I love you, Sheila, and make no doubt about that. We'll talk again before you sail. Well, see there, Toga, my niece is coming to Turkey And I'm going to be living vicariously through her, as my sister is also enjoying her travels. Be good, honey. You are good. Uh, through my children, I give her a chance to respond there, Rod. They're going to go to do the game. They got a game that's coming up, and but if she doesn't answer you, I can answer. They're still in the Baja in the down along the Baja Peninsula down there. I think they're around San Francisco. I think they're that far down now. I don't know, but they're still somewhere in the Baja Peninsula. Oh man, you're going to have such a good time, Rod. Yeah, they sailing right now. Their sailboat is in the Sea of Cortez. Oh, okay. I know over there you've got coming off the Black Sea. You've got a channel that comes into Turkey there. I can almost tell you what that strait is called. There's a little body of there's a big ships going up through there. And I thought, what a beautiful place. That would be a beautiful assignment. But oh God, the housing are going to be so. Yeah, from the Georgia side. That's right. That's right. But housing would be so expensive. I would be thinking. I'm thinking more traditionally down toward Jismere, where affordable housing. I mean, it may not even be of your concern about affordable housing, but I look at it and I don't want to spend all of my life savings on affordable housing. If I go somewhere, I want to be able to find a place that I can get off up in there, like go to Thailand and spend maybe a couple of thousand a month and live good compared to places where you have to pay that much just for a small cold water flat. You go to Seattle, Washington, and go up to Kirkland, Bellevue, anywhere up in there. Go to a university place over by Tacoma, and just see what a 2-bedroom apartment will cost you. Ooh, it's so expensive per month. $2,000 or $3,000 a month to get a little 2-bedroom apartment. When you're retired, you got to figure out ways of stretching that income, and you certainly do not want to give it all in just housing. Now, having a ship under you or a boat where you can pull into port, tie up, and stay for a length of time in a slip and without having to even set foot on the land, save a lot in housing. Oh, village house. I love the villages. I just got through watching Itchy Boots as she rode all through Turkey. And there were so many beautiful little villages that she went into. And yet, I mean, you don't want to go out in the remote village. We're talking about a village where you can still get G5 connections and get all the wonderful things that the internet could bring to you and bring the quality of life up. You certainly don't want to be out in a place where you can't even get a satellite signal. You'll get all that stuff will be worked out. Because one of the things, me, if I went to the same village that you go to, I'm not going to get the housing capability of getting the houses as affordable as you, because you can negotiate. You know how to talk the talk. I'd have to have an interpreter to figure out, what is going to be the bottom dollar on my dwelling. It's just uh, it's a beautiful thing. Here come a train. She's coming in on time, buddy. She's blowing steam. No, yeah, you've got to have some kind of a good connection. Starlink, if you've got if there's a system is up and the grid is operational, you I just don't like the latency, the delay between the time you. But it doesn't matter if you're operating in digital telemetry. If you're trying to do voice over the internet, or there's some things that satellite service. You have to have a lot of sophisticated software to stop the Doppler effect and all the things that would interfere with good streams of data. But it's all possible. No, no. The game. I've got a gaming machine right here, and this would eat up Starlink right over there. Yeah, there you go. You'll learn about all those things, and or you obviously have a good understanding of it now, or we wouldn't be talking about it. But it's beautiful. Think about this. You remember? Oh, what? You're making these plans for your retirement, and just think about all the possibilities you have. You'd be unlimited. You have to stay within the system, where you can be linked up, hooked up, and be able to do and perform the jobs that you do. But just you got the whole thing at your disposal, and you won't have to answer to the man. Well, we're down to 4 people. The people on the side here, the chat people, have been so kind tonight, been so good. But I know they're all heading off over there right now, over to the duck crew, and yeah, duct tape is on. Okay. Let me go and get off here. I'll go ahead and, hey, I want to thank everybody that came and joined me today. You get a chance, you guys go over to Old Mac. I posted some stuff. Go over and look at my little dog doing the twerk. I've got a little twerking dog. I've got Joyce's little dog. She gave it to me. He's 14 years old. His name is Colton, and he's a little twerker. And God bless each and every one of you, and thank you for spending time with me. I didn't intend to stay on this long, because, but I just wanted to touch bases with so many of my friends out there, and you guys go do your thing with the duct tape, and And love you, and we'll say God bless to each and every one of you. You never know when I'm going to pop up. If I have an opportunity to post a premiere, if I can see if my signal's going to hold up. But see, if I plan a premiere and then I don't have a signal, I get so upset. God bless people, all my brothers and sisters out there in the world that makes my life complete. Bye-bye.